Hey traders, checking in on the cryptocurrency space. Some real beat up names this morning and some oversold bounces are now underway. We're going to look at what the bulls have to do to put any kind of pressure on shorts and prove that they are shifting some of the short-term momentum. Are we going to see another leg down, or are we going to head up to 40,000? Spoiler alert, I have no idea, but I'll show you the clues that we're looking at that can help us determine probabilities. So looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, we're clearly in a downtrend. We're not getting significant bear follow through. There's no significant bear volume. We're not dumping to oversold conditions, but it's a very clear lower high, lower low pattern. So next time we bounce, anything under 34.6 thousand will just be another daily lower high. And that's what I'm going to be watching to see. Are the bears still in complete control? In this video, I'm going to be talking about a couple of things, again, where I don't know the answer. And that is a-okay as a trader to not know. And that's why I have less position exposure right now. If I was really confident in the things that I'm about to talk about, then I would have a larger position. But because I'm not, I don't, and I patiently wait. And one of the things I'm talking about is grayscale unlocking of these shares on GBTC. And I've read a bit about it, but honestly, I have no idea how this is going to impact the market. There's a general bearish overtone because the shares are unlocking. And people are, speculating, well, are they going to sell the GBTC shares? And are they going to short Bitcoin spot? Or how is this arbitrage going to go on? And so not knowing any of that in terms of what's going to happen, again, I have less of a position. So I put myself at less risk. That being said, if there's a bearish overhang to this event and the event comes and goes and there's no bearish reaction, that can be taken as a bullish reaction. Another thing we're going to be watching for is this B-word conference. I believe I don't know if it's next week or in 2 weeks from now. Have to double check that date. Just something to be paying attention to that day, because if something were said, if Musk and Dorsey are going to be having a conversation, and if something were said, the price can obviously react to that. So you just want to be aware to be watching for volatility when that event is ongoing. But those are two things in the short term that we're going to have to be watching closely for as far as a reaction. But if we don't see volume and if we don't get a break of this range, then nothing's going on with Bitcoin and we're just going to be patiently waiting. One thing to do with this conference is we have sell the news, right? Where you run up to a known news event and then you sell off once it happens. Right now, we're not running up. We're mostly trading sideways and a little bit bearish. So that's the kind of scenario that sets the stage for a more notable reaction to anything that is said. So again, that's why I'm going to be keeping an eye out that day for what is said, because I believe that if things are tight and we haven't just come from a big breakout or a big breakdown, that words are going to be more impactful as far as how the bots and the algos react to them, because we're at a level right now where there's definitely some stop losses that would trigger on a flush of 28.8, and there's definitely a bunch of short stops that would trigger on a move over 37,000. So, daily we've got our levels. I've been watching this 4-hour support line, and I had it here, and then this one candle ruined it. And really, when I look at this, do I look at this and say, well, that's a bear break, and this pattern's invalidated? Or do I say, well, if that candle closed a half hour earlier or a half hour later, we'd still be holding that line because we just made a significant bounce off that level. So the fact that the price responded this way has me feel that this support level is still in play, and it was a double bottom at 31,000 as well. But this is a scenario where I just redraw my line so that it is hitting all the price action and we're not closing below it, and that just means dropping it down a little bit more. But this is what I'm keeping an eye on, and I can be watching this bigger picture 4-hour downtrending resistance, which is hitting all these 12-hour lower highs, or I can drop it down to a little bit short term. And if we were to pull back here on the 4-hour chart, then we have an even tighter range to be watching. Bottom line is the burden of proof is on the bulls. We need an hourly trend change from this double bottom. We broke resistance, that's great, but you have to confirm the higher low and higher high. If we do, we then zoom out, and that will be the bulls creating some space for a 4-hour trend change attempt. Again, we have to see a 4-hour higher low and higher high. So bulls have a lot of proving to do. We did get some nice oversold bounce conditions. This is where looking at the altcoin market can give you clues. When I woke up at 7, I was doing this at 7 a.m. roughly, a little bit before it. But I was looking at Bitcoin and saying, okay, 4-hour RSI is just touching oversold, and I can see that we have not gotten to oversold conditions in any meaningful way since 28.8, where we're really just bouncing right above it. And so that was a factor in looking for a bounce. The hourly RSI at that point in time, not too oversold. If I were looking at Bitcoin in itself and I was not looking at the altcoin space, I would be real 50-50 on a bounce. Well, maybe this is the time that the 4-hour RSI drops down to 25 after not doing so over the past bunch of weeks. I would not have had confidence in the Bitcoin bounce. There was a double bottom that definitely helped with the confidence, but at 7 a.m., I'm not sitting here saying Bitcoin's about to bounce. I'm saying I'm watching for a bounce, but I'm not that confident. That being said, when I looked at the altcoins, and again, I just pull up my list and I sort it and say, okay, who is the most beat up? And then I started looking at those individual charts. And Theta and FTT are what stood out to me. And I look at FTT on the hourly at that point in time, and we're down with an hourly RSI of 22. We've got a 4-hour RSI down at 24. The BTC pairings were absolutely crushed. Not as much here, but FTT you'll see. But hourly RSI 23, 4-hour RSI 26, daily RSI getting oversold. So daily RSI here down at 25. So we have all these longer term time frames up to the shorter term time frames really, really beat up. That tells me I am very confident that we're going to see these altcoins bounce, and we're going to see their BTC pairings bounce at the same time, and we're going to see these names see the bigger bounce gains. And FTT, again, same thing. Hourly RSI absolutely crushed, almost single digits. It was down at 10, while the 4-hour RSI was down at 15, and the daily RSI, not as beat up, but absolutely crushed hourly and 4-hour RSI levels. And again, look at the BTC pairing. Same thing, single digit 4-hour RSI. Hourly, single digit RSI. So I know FTT is not listed on Coinbase, but this morning I woke up and I double checked because I wanted an FTT position. And just to go through my mindset is what I'm looking for this morning. FTT USDT hourly and 4-hour RSI is absolutely crushed. Potential playoff 2191 support. So that was the only support level that was in play. 2191. Bouncing above that level. And Theta USDT, daily RSI, everything that I just said. It goes without saying that all the alt bounce plays will need to be watching Bitcoin and seeing bounce develop there as well. We know that. But we can expect the beat up alts like FTT and Theta to see some decent oversold bounces from these lows as the setup is there for both the US dollar and BTC pairings to bounce at the same time. So we know that if Bitcoin bounces here, we're going to see these altcoins bounce harder because their BTC pairings are extremely likely to bounce hard at the same time. So Bitcoin in itself, looking for a bounce, but 50-50. Maybe it happens. Maybe we drop to another leg down. As soon as I look at these altcoins, the probabilities that I have that Bitcoin is going to bounce this morning increase 20%. I'm now 75% sure that we're going to see Bitcoin bounce this morning, and these altcoins are going to bounce more significantly. So that's the complete picture. When I was only looking at Bitcoin, I'm zoomed in, and I'm looking like this at the market, and as soon as I look at the altcoins, it gives me a much more complete picture. So that's what I do every single morning when I am analyzing the space and catching up. Okay, what did I miss overnight? Where do we stand? And what am I looking for in the short term? So we have these oversold bounces taking place. And on FTT, there was a tweet that squeezed shorts. It was a really nice timed tweet. Honestly, I didn't even read the details of what it was. But something on Twitter led to this short squeeze, and it was just a prime setup. This is the bears getting greedy. The bears were extremely greedy on this name, and anybody that was late playing bearish paid for it. We need an hourly trend change for bounce follow through. And actually, you know what? I take it back. I don't like the clarity on this hourly time frame. So we're going right to the 4-hour. 4-hour EMA 12 has been rejecting. Look at Theta USDT. It's been rejecting the price for 2 weeks. And we're under that level right now. Bulls haven't proven anything. This is just releasing the pressure. It's unscrewing the cap and allowing the pressure out. And now the question is, the scales were like this with supply outweighing demand. They quickly flipped, and now we're starting to do this. We need the trend change for them to stay flipped because that tells us there is sustained bull buying, and it wasn't just an initial short squeeze move where everybody takes their profit and nobody buys the higher lows. And what Bitcoin does is going to have an implication as to whether or not these altcoins get bounce follow through. FTT, same. We'll need an hourly trend change there. Have we even confirmed a 15-minute? No. So we need a 15-minute. We can just be playing the zoom out game. I haven't even confirmed a 5-minute trend change. So let's start with the 5. Need a higher high to continue to keep that pressure on bears. AXS USDT has been a lead bull. Finally seeing some weakness. A lot of bears have been waiting for it. We had a bit of a head and shoulders on the hourly. Just a left shoulder and a right shoulder, or a head, and then a right shoulder. Failed to break the high, and then this started the hourly downtrend. Nice bounce. You know, that's a solid 15% plus bounce. And then this morning we were watching for first hourly oversold conditions. We haven't seen a back burner trade in a long time, but this was a back burner setup. And a solid move from 21.30 up to 23.50. So that is a 10% bounce. And now it's a sideways hourly range where the bulls are attempting the higher low, and we must break 23.55 for any bounce follow through. Bigger picture, we will just be looking for a 4-hour lower high. You can see it's inside bar, inside bar. If it breaks bull, we scout a 4-hour lower high compared to 27.39. Bears will be waiting for a 4-hour lower high. The question is this a daily bull flag, or is more daily consolidation coming? And the bears obviously hoping that 4-hour lower highs and lower lows keep going. And the next bounce, now that we just saw hourly oversold, we're going to be looking for first 4-hour oversold conditions if we see continued 4-hour downtrend. Tons of space for a daily high or low. So again, you need to determine what time frame is most important to you. Are you scouting a daily high or low? Are you scouting a 4-hour lower high? All right. It's an abrupt ending. I just ran out of the things that I wanted to say. So we'll keep an eye on this bounce. Bulls have a lot of proving to do, and we are in a slow, steady downtrend, and that has to change. It's a pretty notable red day for SPY. The past 2 days, actually. Just starting some solid consolidation. Red Maribozu, the bears have had control all day. So the one win for the Bitcoin bulls is they're up near the high of the day and slightly green, while the S&P 500 and the tech sector are pulling back 2 days in a row. So I guess that's one small victory for the bulls as we attempt an oversold bounce. Have a great weekend. Don't forget to do good things. We'll see you soon. If you go long at the open during this stretch, you're making money probably 18 out of 20, however many days. It is a notable shift. And this is a horse. That's his saddle. Better tail. That's a carrot. I think we got to